It's come to my attention that I made a typo in the final quote-unquote version of the Sanguine science. Luckily, it was not in the general context of the nature of Sanguine, but it was beforehand in the sort of speech that was written as the first part of Sanguine. This is the new the new untypoed version of the text, read as I hoped it would be read. I've titled it "Of the Sanguine American" after publishing, as a specific excerpt of the book, a chapter of it, part. I don't know. Americans, our country has changed. What was once free and brave has become rigid and demure. We are anything but united. Life has been corrupted to refer to the opportunity to work, on one hand, and exclusively the power to control, on the other. Liberty has been putrefied to refer to the freedom to compete for money, or the freedom to administrate with it. How we govern has become not a question of possibility, but a conflict of interests. Those interests which engender our lives, and those which belong to the agenda of the almighty dollar. On average, 14 million people are out of work. More can hardly make ends meet, while simultaneously the top 1% lives a life of luxury, never touching a single cog of machinery, never stitching a seam of clothing, never plucking a single feather, nor ever typing a bite of code, nor sowing one single seed, yet, paradoxically, thriving upon piles of wealth at which Charlemagne would have blushed. While those who struggle at the hulking steel, who thread the needle, and who butcher the meat, who plot the code and grow the food, those who we think when we cry at the sight of that glorious wavering banner, must we be denied of means or ends for the most tersely phrased and crude of rationale, insufficient funds? How now? Funds which ultimately belong to the CEO, yet legally belong to the corporations, the military industrial complex that President Eisenhower warned us about in his farewell address. Political action to curb the steady decline of American values of life and liberty, has been non-existent at worst and ineffectual at best. No side is willing to compromise. Understandably, the farce of politics has been played and played again, a squabble and egg in the face, a red-hot retort, rinse and repeat. Parties, as George Washington put it, are likely to become potent engines which will be able to subvert the power of the people. Both parties represent an incomplete view which the other complements. Left and right. But which is back and which is forward? We are abandoned to Joyce in the blinding light. Thus we are conquered unknowingly. All the while, corporations reciprocate nothing to society, whether through taxes, simple ethics, or thoughtful oversight. The need for clean air has been brushed away like a scrap of parchment as earth undeniably warms. It is absurd now to even venture towards saying that human activities have not affected the climate. It is untenable to even think that the burning and excavation of fossil fuels will not continue to affect the health of the biosphere. The year 2011 has had the most rainfall and is tied for the warmest with 2008. Warmest year in history. It is plainly ignorant to declare that there are no alternative forms of energy. Solar energy could very well supply the entire country with power utilizing solar tower technology. Hydrocell engines are functional and purposefully neglected. Even if they were not functional, electric automobiles would take the market. That is, were it not for corporate dominance. Countrymen, there has never been a force more destructive than we on the face of this earth. Not only have we neglected progress and helped destroy our God-given earth, we have become the antithesis of life. Warmongers, to put it bluntly. We have become the modern corruption of the Roman Empire. The military-industrial complex cannot survive without conflict, without a reason to snatch up the assets of other countries. Whether in Afghanistan, Iraq, or Yemen, in the Philippines, Liberia, Georgia, or Djibouti, in Haiti, Kenya, Ethiopia, or Eritrea, in Pakistan, or Somalia, whether or not we call it a war, we are not welcome, and we are not helping them or even ourselves. Well, we are helping some parties. We, the people, have willingly armed and trained some of the most dangerous men on this earth, including the very enemies we have sworn to vanquish. Oh, irony. We, the people, have sacrificed the fruits of our labor to fuel the exploits of the lifeless complex, and in turn are lied to, imprisoned, or worked to exhaustion at the threat of starvation. War is profitable. Exploitation is profitable. Death is, when all is done, profitable. But for whom? Not for us, the subjugated, the divided, the objectified, the people. If Rockefeller were around to tell you about the hoard to be made through gentle economic dominance and comely quaint exploitation, then he could tell us all about the ludicrous profit Standard Oil generated and the assets it conquered. Off the record. Likewise, no single participant in the grand charade of two-party politics, nor one blank-faced corporate executive, his living progeny, will tell you how dependent one is on the other. Off the record. Corporations are legal personages that own the United States, and consequently should own you. But do they? The mortgage company can take your home, the police force can take your protection, the DEA can take your medicine, and if all else fails, the FBI can abduct you and detain you without trial indefinitely. So, in essence, yes, we are all the property of the military-industrial complex. As our conversations on the phone and online through the Patriot Act, we can all be monitored quite easily. Countrymen, how dare we trust the Empire? The Empire, leaping foot first into black leather-soled boots, would not dare trust you for a dime, much less for trillions of dollars and immovable authority. No. The United States is en route to an Orwellian future. A dystopic corporate dominance trills back to us through the sickness of today. A democracy is fixed on the inner wall of the cell. A switch with one toggle, D or R. The television loops propaganda telling us to buy things, telling us who the enemy is, telling us how to dance and what to love. The wage is enough to get food, rather a sort of plastic soup. We must work or be fired and starve. Life merely scuttles across gritty asphalt. We, the people, are debt serfs, working off a debt we owe to the invisible, unknowable complex. The complex that we may never understand, a debt which cannot be paid. The dollar has shown its true face, not a face of long-dead presidents,